Tree Country 1330 WTRE. Good morning, Mayor Marsh.
Good morning, Emily, and happy Thursday, everyone, in sunny, slightly warm WTRE country.
Yes. It's like spring is here.
It's great.
It's arrived in Greensburg.
That's right. I've seen there's been some field work happening. Planters are out, so, be careful, slow down around those. But yes, it's springtime in Indiana. Thank goodness we made it through another winter.
We did. It's gotten so green like in the last week, too. Like grass is growing, flowers are out, greenhouses are open, all the good stuff.
It's a good part of the year.
It is.
It's like renewed, right? Everybody gets all grumpy when it gets cold, and then you spend like February inside and you can't go do anything. And now it's the time to be happy, joyful, get out and about, enjoy the weather, enjoy the parks, have a great time.
That's right. Fresh air. It's good for everybody.
That's right. Well, you're the medical profession, but it should be good for everybody.
It should be good for everyone.
That's
yes.
right.
A little vitamin D from the sun. Yeah. The parks are so pretty this time of year, too, though. Like they're getting all spruced up and ready to...
Yeah, they've done a really nice job, and, of course, it's grass mowing season, of course, but getting everything kind of dug out from the winter, and, people are back at the Occlusion Park and at the Outdoor Fitness Park and playing pickleball and basketball, and so it's really a great time, and the team over at the Decatur County Parks Department's done a great job, and it's... baseball, softball season, the first two tournaments out at the Diamonds that have reopened, I've heard have been tremendous successes, and it's good to see those already well utilized or well being utilized after a lot of years of what I think a lot of people thought was underutilization. So it's good to see renewed energy and spirit out there too.
Had quite a bit of crowd come along with those this last weekend. So
yeah, I was out there. I think I drove by on Saturday, going through and parked all over the place. Full Diamonds. Somebody told me that they had went until 12:30 Saturday night.
Oh wow.
Of course, we had that little bit of rain that allowed they did get to keep playing once the storms had kind of passed. So that probably backed them up a little bit. But I think it was 12:30 that they were still out there full bore.
That is dedication.
It is. And then Erica Gunn from Tourism made the comment the other day that on the first weekend's worth of data, I don't know that she had last weekend's yet, that it appeared like restaurants, Marshall's was like one of the highest visited places either before or after, which is great. And then like restaurants were up over 50% generally compared to the weekend before because of that tournament influx traffic, which is great. And hotels were more full than they have usually been on the weekends. A lot of people don't realize this, but our busiest hotel days are Monday through Wednesday nights. Those are the highest occupancy rates because we have a lot of business travelers, corporate travelers that stay here. So then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're at home and they aren't here. So that's where the weekend tournaments really help that industry quite a bit. So overall, the first two weekends seems like a huge success. I haven't talked to anybody from the Parks Department about their side of it yet, but overall seems like a really, really, really positive first couple weeks.
Very good. I know we talked last week about the flowers going in downtown and kind of giving that spring look. And if you drive through right now, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job. We had Expressions that helped us out with the pansies and the planters. And, of course, the street department did the mulch work. And we've made some modifications to the south side of the square. We were talking about this the other week as well. Like the boxwoods had contracted a blight that we were not able to get rid of, and they were looking very scraggly. So we were able to do a small update down there that really made it look a lot cleaner, neater. And those businesses along the south side are, enjoying that as well. But also our maintenance team is much more appreciative of having less grumpy plants, if you will, to just kind of deal with all summer. So that's been really positive. And then, over on the before I forget, I want to be sure this is I know it's getting close to the end, but it's Work Zone Safety Week. So this is our opportunity to be very cognizant of the work that the street department and all of the road crews and sanitation teams do around. So, put the phone down. That's their slogan, right? Phone down, eyes up kind of thing. So be cognizant of that, and much appreciate all the work that they do for us every week, not only this week.
They do more than anyone can imagine.
Yeah, they're always around, whether you see them or not. They help us with all of the obscure things along with the normal items that you do think about. Most people don't realize how much grass we take care of, and we have a mowing team over at the water company that takes care of a lot of that too. But they help us with that, and of course, sanitation, street work, potholes this time of the year, etc.
Construction continues downtown as well.
Yes,
making progress.
We are 1 week into our 1.5 weeks into our closure, so that is well underway. Progress is being made. I know it may seem slow or that it's not, but there's a lot of work happening there. And then, as far as I'm aware, they're still on schedule to get out of there in the next couple of weeks and get the intersection reopened. I think it's been going very well. I made the comment that even though I know it's coming, I'm sure I will turn down that way at least once or twice and forget that it's closed, but I haven't done it yet. And it seems like it's working okay. There's sort of a turnaround there on North Broadway. We just need to be sure we don't get a semi stuck in there sideways, which is great. And we need people to be really careful and cognizant of that parking lot that's on the south side of the square that's sort of by the War Memorial. When you get to the end of that, you cannot turn left and go onto Main Street. That's been a driving education component over the last week. You can go to the right, go down, turn around, and come back like normal. So you can't turn left onto out of there and onto Main Street.
Gotcha. Okay.
That doesn't flow. But outside of that, it's been going very well. And, we're going to keep marching east. We've been working with the courthouse on their services that connect through the Sally Port in the basement. And everybody's been very, very attentive to the needs. And Shooty Excavating is doing a great job being attentive to the needs of everyone downtown as well.
Very good. And so entire project by Fall Festival
will be done by the Fall Festival.
Okay. Looking forward
that's
to
what
that.
that is the goal. That will happen. Again, we may have something where trees aren't in or something random, but generally it is going to be usable by the Fall Festival.
Okay, that's good. We need it.
Yeah.
We'll be ready to go.
And the Fall Festival, they announced their music lineup at the Board of Works meeting a couple weeks ago for street closures. I don't remember all those bands off the top of my head, but, they do a great job every year making sure that event is runs like a top. It keeps growing, which is great. That most people think, they probably spend a couple months. Like, no, they spend all year in advance. And Mark Carmen kind of manages all the music. And he talked about how he's already looking at booking bands for 2026. So, it runs a long ways out before there is, anything even on paper. But having a set weekend really helps, right? It's always the third weekend in September. The businesses know that, the vendors know that, and everybody else is aware too. So should be a great event. Once again, we're a long ways away from that. We've got, the Mayor's Youth 5K coming up in June. And then there's all kinds of other 5Ks that are available. It's a good opportunity to plug Yodel, so go check that out. That's the community calendar that we rolled out about 2 years ago. That's still available. It's free. There's an app that's free. You don't have to pay for anything. And then if you have an entity that's interested in putting events on there, you just have to create an account, sign up, you'll get approved. You don't have to be a nonprofit. You can be a for-profit. It just has to be kind of event-oriented, not necessarily like we're having a sale today, but we're having this open house or, we're doing this. But good opportunity, good place to keep track of everything that's going on. Summer concert series, tourism has their own calendar, but it's on there as well. So go take a look at that.
Farmers Market will be kicking off as well downtown another month or so.
Yeah, I think they usually get started in mid-May. Excuse me, but they got permission from the commissioners. Main Street Greensburg runs that event last week at their meeting. To do that, they're going to sort of stay on that south side to help alleviate some of the parking pressure from the Washington Street project. Main Street's been a phenomenal partner with the city during our construction seasons and making sure that the farmers market can go on and on and on. They've done a great job of diversifying the market. They've got a lot of vendors already signed up. And, they've done kids coupons in the past where kids that show up can get $1 to spend at the market. They've done Snap and Wick Match. Our market's really I know some people want it to be bigger, some people want it to be on Saturday, but it's really a great farmers market. And Allie, who's the director of Main Street's done a phenomenal job at that.
It continues to grow every year too. I think that's the successful piece that you see in it. Because I look back when it first started, and there were 2 or 3 vendors to begin with, and it's grown substantially.
Yeah, there's meat products, there's veggie products, there's baked goods, there's seasonal and stuff you can kind of get year round. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff there, and sometimes you don't even know what is going to be there. So you sort of have to just stop by and see.
It's just a surprise.
That's right. And that's part of it too. Is Alley 1822. We're sort of hoping to connect the parking back to parking. If you're like, boy, there's no parking, think about that too, because that connection now between the back and the front of the buildings is there. That's the part of the intent behind the reuse of that space. So there's lots of opportunity to visit the farmers market.
And I was downtown. I guess it was last week, just kind of making my rounds, but our buildings are filling up, and so many new businesses coming in, and it's just nice to see it really thriving.
Yeah, and of course, if you own a building downtown, there's the facade grant through Main Street, which has made really great impacts. The Alma Taylor Fund has made really great impacts on our downtown. And then last year, Honda awarded Main Street $25,000 for interior renovations, which have to be focused on sort of energy efficiency. The City of Greensburg Redevelopment Commission matched that for them, so they have some money to do that. So there's a business that was just approved at Tuesday night's Main Street meeting to receive a new HVAC system. So that's great. That's an investment that stays with the building in downtown, makes those spaces more leasable or usable. And we're really fortunate. We sometimes, even but we as a community take it for granted a little bit. We talked last week. Kristen, who's my communications director, is the president of the Indiana Mayor's Assistance Conference. And so they had their conference here last week, and we showed off the whole community on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday afternoon, it was reported that a lot of the conference attendees had gone back downtown to do some personal shopping.
Nice.
Even though we had spent Thursday evening down there, sort of like a bingo, like they went around to different businesses and got it like their card stamped. So they really had a great experience in our community, and there were so many compliments on the cleanliness, the business diversification, the business friendliness of our community, and how there were lots of cities that are a lot bigger than ours that were like, boy, I wish we had this. And then lots of communities that are smaller than us that said, boy, I wish we had this. So really, really positive feedback on our entire community, and especially that part.
That was a very large group that was in town for that as well.
Yeah, they had about 75. After we got done here last Thursday, I went out to the Hampton and did the welcome, morning speech thing, and welcomed them and talked about what they did and our community and the great things we're working on. And then that evening we were able to welcome them to downtown, and then they had dinner over at Heritage Hill. So it was a really great experience. So yeah, about 75 people were as part of that. They had some corporate sponsors as well that came with them, and then we had about 50 that came downtown. And it only rained for 1 hour on Wednesday and Thursday last week, and that was the 1 hour we were outside.
I thought about that as it started to rain. I was like, oh, I think this is their time.
Yep. And Edward Jones, Nicole and Morgan from Edward Jones were super great and brought out umbrellas, and they were like, this is all we could find in the closet. So everybody had a really great time.
Good. Speaking, you were talking about grants for downtown, but there's also the grant open right now for some home improvement type of things.
Yeah, the owner-occupied grant, that's open until next Wednesday, so you've only got 1 week to get that finished up. Again, it's for city residents only, low to moderate income. You must own your home. It's got to be on a foundation, and it only sort of covers 4 areas: roofs, HVACs, water heaters, and ADA compliant access to the front threshold. So those are the topics that are covered. The application is still available on our website. It's not terribly complicated. It's only a couple pages. There are physical copies at City Hall if you would like a physical paper copy. We do have to have those back on or before the 30th, so you will want to be working on that ASAP. We've had a pretty good response, and of course, as we talked about in the very beginning, it is not first come, first serve. It's most need, biggest impacts. So you still have time. Don't think, oh, well, I'm last in line, I won't get it. That's not the case. There are different categories that qualify, fixed income, disabled, veterans, seniors, etc. So there's plenty of opportunity and fair consideration to still be given. So please, if that is something you think you might be interested in or qualify for, check out the website, greensburg.in.gov. It's there at the top. You can click on it. There's like a PDF. Or if you want a physical copy, stop by City Hall.
What's the total amount of grant money that'll be awarded? Do we know
so
that?
we were able to, the City Council put up $50,000 of local money, and we were able to bring $350,000 from the Office of Community Rural Affairs, which is OCRA, which is overseen by the Lieutenant Governor, back to the community. So we have $400,000. We're covering the administrative costs, so it's $400,000 that's going back into the community and into homes and projects. So it's a really good matching opportunity. Every time we look at grants, and sometimes people are like, well, where's all this money come from? It's tax money. It is tax money, but we're recapturing it for our community. It was going to get spent somewhere. Okra said we're going to give out this much money this quarter, and we were able to capture $350,000 of it and bring it back into our community for people to reinvest in their homes. Yes, we had to put up a little bit of our local money, but that's a pretty good ROI.
So for when you're talking about Okra, so does Okra allocate a certain amount, or as the city, do you have to apply to then be able to give that grant money out? Like that $350,000, do you go after that, or is it allocated to the city?
No, so we've not been able to get this before. They've changed the way that cities and communities qualify. So this is actually one of the first times. It's definitely the first time we've been able to qualify since I've been here. But I don't think we've ever even done a program like this before. So you have to apply. You have to have an application. You have to make a case. You have to show them what it is that you're going to do and how. And of course, the program is very limited anyway. So you have to make a case to them as to why they should invest in Greensburg, and so we did that. So yeah, it is a very active application process. It is not a passive one, and there were only 4 communities awarded in the whole state in that funding cycle. So it's pretty competitive, and I appreciate Okra, taking the opportunity to invest in us. We don't want to let them down. We want to be able to go back to them in the future and say, look, we did that successfully. We activated the money quickly. We got it into the places that it needs to be, and our team's done a really great job at pursuing that.
And what a great opportunity for a homeowner to be able to get that upgrade they may need. And
yeah, those can be some, roofs and HVACs, and even water heaters can be pretty big ticket items. And so it's a great opportunity if that's something that, you can't afford or can't quite make work. It's an opportunity, that's for sure.
And that, once again, due the 30th.
Due the 30th. All
right, very good. Well, let's touch a little bit on state stuff. I know it's been a little quiet as far as I have seen, but any updates that you have from the State House?
Yeah, it's been really quiet, almost eerily quiet since last week when we talked about sort of where everything was. Of course, the budget the state budget was a very big deal, and everybody's just kind of gone radio silent on it. They are required to sine die, which is adjourned until next session, I think by the 29th of this month, which is next Tuesday. The rumor, the scuttlebutt a week and a half ago, was that they were going to try to sine die on the 24th, which is today. So I haven't quite heard whether they're still going to do that or not. They haven't. The last I knew of yesterday, probably around noon, I had not seen the version of the budget. They have not released what the conference committee on the budget says or wants to do. So it seems unlikely that they're going to get sine die today. So it looks like it will probably carry into next week, unless they call them in tomorrow and over the weekend, which they can do. They just haven't done that yet this session. So we'll see. But yeah, it's been very quiet. Really not much has changed. I'm sure there's some bills and things that are unrelated to what I follow
sure.
that have made some progress. But generally, it's been very quiet. So we'll see.
It was very loud. The budgeting was very loud there for a couple weeks. So yeah, when it went quiet, it went fast. And here we are.
Yes.
Yeah. You're headed out to the high school today.
We are. So today is again, back to that, it's springtime thing. Today's the first event in our Public Safety Community Cookout series. And so this year we're doing a couple things a little bit different, which is great. We are when we started this, the idea was we wanted people to have great positive connections and interactions with our public safety officials. We wanted them to be available, present, answer questions, and show off their craft and what they do. So we've been doing these in neighborhoods, across the city for the last 5 years. This year, the schedule's a little wonky, but we wanted to do something with the school. So we wanted to add in more of an educational component. And we've not done a distracted driving demo for a few years now. And we typically do these with juniors and seniors. So in theory, we need to do them every other year to catch, all the classes. Probably isn't a bad thing to do every year. People may say, well, what does that mean? It's the mock car crash. Some people call it the drunk driving crash, but in today's world, we expanded into distracted driving. So there are actors and actresses. We partner with a ton, and I'll try not to name everyone because I'll forget somebody, but one of the tow companies brings us a vehicle that has been in a wreck of some sort that is still, air quotes, usable for this situation. Actors and actresses are in the car like they have just crashed, and then all of the students come out at that point. And so the crash has already happened. Students come out, and then there's this emergency response, right? They get to see what it looks like when emergency responders respond to a crash. And there's injuries. I think all the students, there's usually someone who passes away or is killed in the crash. Lifeline helicopters scheduled to come land on site. So there's the coroner, there's Lifeline, there's somebody that leaves via ambulance, and then there's always somebody who goes to jail. And so it is quite a production. All of our community partners donate their time and effort. Like, we don't pay Lifeline to come down. They fly. And if you've ever gotten a bill or ever had anybody say about how many dollars per hour to fly the bird, they donate that as a part of the educational series. We have a great relationship with them in Stat Flight. DCMH, brings over the ambulance, but it's this emergency response, right? It's here comes the lights and sirens. Here comes people at air quotes high rates of speed to respond to this, and you see what happens when choices lead to terrible outcomes. So it's a really interesting process. Anyone and everyone is welcome to join us today. So as a part of our community series, we want to be sure it's open to the public, which it is. So it's going to start at 10:15 on the west side of the high school. So they are sort of by the gym doors, if you will. I'm sure you can park in the student parking lot or on the front. Come down. You'll probably want to be there by about 10 o'clock. We'll find you a spot to watch, and the student actors and actresses do a great job of portraying what it is. They get makeup done. I think typically like Tree County Players helps us with that. So it's really an interesting, not exciting because it's a sad topic,
right?
But it's kind of interesting and exciting to watch it.
And
work.
It's impactful, which is the point. But
they get the jaws of life out, cut the doors off, break the glass. Sometimes will take the top off the car. It's
a full experience where you don't always, we hear about them. We hear the sirens go by, right? But you are not always in that moment, thank goodness, to be able to see all of that happen.
Yeah, and you see the photos, from maybe that partners in the media post when there is a bad wreck or something, and you're like, wow, I can't believe that car looks like. Well, they're going to show you how they get it open. And those tools are amazing. And of course, vehicles these days are amazing too as instruments of protection, but there's still a lot of tragedy that does happen, unfortunately. And it's our teams respond to this kind of stuff not every day, but you would be surprised at how many times a week. Not necessarily we have to do a auto extrication, but they spend a lot of time practicing that, honing their craft to make sure that they understand. And then when we get into a whole nother level of alternative fuels, batteries, compressed natural gases, hybrids, batteries you don't put water on, right? So there's a lot of new things about having to know which type of cars have which and where they're at and why and how, and are they electrified and is it currently electrified? So yeah, please come out. Again, it's today at the high school. It's going to start at 10:15. You're welcome to come out around 10 o'clock. We'll be on the west side of the school. And, juniors and seniors are going to come out and participate in that. And then that sort of launches, we've got May 8th. We're going to be back over on Terra Road over on the southeast side of the community. June 5th, we're going to be up 5th Street in Joram, which is sort of just east of KB, between KB and Lincoln Street. We've not been up there. And then, of course, we'll be at the fair. National Night Out's going to be in August out at North Park, which is always our big one, Fall Festival downtown. And then the second part that we're doing with the school this year is Friday, October 17th. We're going to be at the Greensburg High School football game. I don't know if we know exactly what that's going to look like yet, but we're going to try to do a bit of a outreach educational component there. So we're trying to diversify these a little bit. We still want to be sure we're hitting some different neighborhoods of the community. Every year, our team gets together and we look at the map and say we've been here, 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 and there, and we've done this, that, and everything in between, right? We've done chili cook-offs, we've done other competitions, we've done street fairs, and they're really popular with folks in our community. We love doing them. It's a great opportunity to get out and about into different neighborhoods. And this year we're just partnering with the schools a little bit. We appreciate them working with us and look forward to seeing how today goes.
So what has been your biggest takeaway from starting to do these community events?
Oh, that's a great question. I really like that. I really like when neighbors. We've had a lot of examples of this, but we've had people that say, well, I've lived in this neighborhood for 10 years and we've never had something like this. We've never had a neighborhood block party. We've never had a street fair. We've never had anything in this neighborhood. Thanks for being here, because we don't ever get to see our neighbors, or we don't get out and do this. And then, so I think that's a lot of fun. Of course, there's lots of good connections made, but then we've also had some really interesting conversations with people who maybe don't feel comfortable with calling the police department, or saying, I'm really concerned about my neighbor, or, my mom lives in this house by her. Those are true stories, but this one too. My mom lives in this house by herself. How would the fire department get in if something happened? Or the police department get in if something would happen? Like, I want to be sure that, they can access her. And we said, well, you could give us the garage door code. We'll put it into Spillman, which is our records management system, so that if there is a call to that address, we can punch in the door code. And if not, then we'll just kick in the door. And they were like, okay. So, there's those kinds of helpful conversations that are had. And then, sometimes folks want to share a concern about something happening in the neighborhood, but yet they feel like that's a safe environment to do it, because it's just conversation. There's no, oh, I can't believe you told them that, or whatever, because we're just having a conversation about the weather. And so those have been great. And I love being out and about. It's a great way for me and our team to get into communities and visit with neighbors directly. So I always like doing them. I have missed a couple over the last 5 years just due to scheduling conflicts, but I always try to be at them all.
It's been interesting for me to watch them too, and because we, commonly it's police and fire, everybody's kind of there, but to be able to see the interactions grow and people being comfortable with coming up and talking, whether it be you or Chief McNeil or whoever, they feel like they at least have that connection on that commonality. It's you're here and present for it.
We've intentionally kept the neighborhood one sort of, EMS joins us a lot, which is great, but we've intentionally kept them just City of Greensburg. We're very focused on having the connection between our agencies and our residents. We want that. The National Night Out one, we open up to all of our community partners. We're the underwriters. We put it together, and we get some help from some other partners as far as, finances. But generally, these are very low budget production. I give our teams credit. They seem high budget productions, but they're usually very low budget productions. But it's the best use of dollars in community outreach that we can think of, that we've found. We really like doing them. And then the National Night Out is, we get some help from some of our corporate friends who donate items, or our other partners. But generally, we don't charge them to come. They don't have to rent a booth. WTRE comes as a partner in our public safety response, right? If there's weather or an emergency, you guys help us with that. So we really like having that event on a much larger scale. We bring in lots of partners to help make it a much more festive atmosphere. But the neighborhood ones are intentionally kept a little more small, focuses on that neighborhood specifically. Although anyone and everyone's invited to any of them. That's why probably later this year it'll come in the utility bill. But, there's the schedule of events. You're welcome to come to any of them.
Well, spring is certainly here in Greensburg.
That's right.
And we're moving right into summer, which will mean busy, busy, busy.
That is correct. So we'll see. And it's hard to believe it's already been 30 minutes.
I know,
That's
just
it
like that.
for the whole week.
I'm telling you, got it all wrapped up in one. Well, thanks for being in this morning. We'll see you again next Thursday.
Thanks, everyone.